Welcome to Research and Innovation. So today, we're going to talk about a huge scientific breakthrough, a moment where artificial intelligence cracked one of the biggest challenges in all of biology. It's a story that's been 50 years in the making, and it's kicking off a whole new era in medicine and science. All right, let's get into it. Basically everything that happens in your body, from fighting a cold to just digesting lunch, it's all done by these tiny little machines called proteins. They are, without a doubt, the workhorses of life. But here's the mystery we've been facing for decades. We know proteins are just simple strings of building blocks, amino acids. But how in the world do those simple strings fold themselves up into these incredibly complex, beautiful, and functional 3D shapes? That question is so big, so fundamental, it actually has a name. It's called the protein folding problem. And believe me, for over half a century, it has totally stumped some of the absolute brightest minds in science. To put it really simply, a protein's 3D shape is its function. They're one and the same. If you know the shape, you can figure out what it does, how it works, and this is the really important part, what goes wrong when it's involved in a disease. So being able to predict that shape from just the sequence, well, that's like having the master key to unlock the secrets of life itself. Yeah, the old way of doing this, trying to figure out a single protein structure in a lab, it could take months, sometimes years, of just painstaking work. And what that created was this massive bottleneck in biological research. It was slowing down our ability to really understand diseases and, of course, to design new drugs to fight them. So get this. Thanks to all the amazing work in genomics, we now have the sequences, the blueprints, basically, for billions of different proteins. It's like we have this massive library of all of life's essential machinery. But this is the number of protein structures we've actually experimentally solved. It's just a tiny, tiny fraction of the whole library. There's this huge, colossal gap between what we know is out there and what we actually understand. For years, scientists were kind of attacking this gap from two different angles. You had one group trying to simulate the raw physics of all the atoms, which you can imagine was just way too complicated for our computers. Then you had another group looking for clues in the evolutionary history of proteins. That helped, for sure, but the predictions just weren't accurate enough to be truly useful. Neither one could solve the problem at scale. And then, in 2020, everything changed. A team of researchers unveiled a brand new approach that wasn't just a little bit better, it was a genuine quantum leap forward. Researchers at DeepMind published this paper in the journal Nature, introducing a system they called AlphaFold. And listen to this claim. Right here in the abstract, they said it can predict protein structures with atomic accuracy. That is an incredibly bold claim. So let's see how on Earth they actually did it. Okay, so how does an AI even begin to tackle a problem that stumped humans for 50 years? Well, it learns to think about proteins in a completely different way. It combines clues from evolution with the basic geometry of how proteins are built. It all starts with a protein's sequence. From there, AlphaFold scours these gigantic databases to find that protein's evolutionary cousins. It's looking for patterns, right? It wants to see which amino acids have changed together over millions of years of evolution. That gives it some really strong clues about which parts of the protein string are probably close to each other in the final folded shape. Then, a super powerful AI module interprets all those relationships, and a second AI module uses that info to build and then fine-tune an actual 3D model, piece by piece. But look, making an extraordinary claim like that means you need extraordinary proof. AlphaFold couldn't just say it was accurate, it had to prove it on the world's biggest stage for this exact problem. And that stage is called CASP. You can pretty much think of it as the Olympics of protein folding. It's a totally blind competition. Teams from all over the world get the sequences for proteins whose shapes have just been solved in a lab, but nobody's seen them yet. It is the ultimate test of a prediction system. And the results? They were just staggering. I mean, look at this. The key thing here is the scale of the victory. AlphaFold's average error was less than 1 angstrom. Now, to put that in perspective, a single carbon atom is wider than that. So its predictions were literally accurate down to the width of an atom. The next best method wasn't even in the same ballpark. This wasn't just winning the race. This was lapping the entire field. But you don't just have to take the chart's word for it. Let's just look at the evidence. Here, the green structure is the real deal, the one determined in a lab. And the blue? That's AlphaFold's prediction. I mean, wow, the overlap is nearly perfect. It's basically indistinguishable. And this incredible accuracy holds up even when you zoom way in. It's not just getting the general shape right. It's correctly placing all the little individual side chains. Those are the chemical groups that do all the important business. And that level of detail is absolutely critical if you're trying to do something like design a new drug. And this just brilliantly shows its power. AlphaFold can handle these massive, super complicated proteins made of thousands of amino acids. These are structures that would have been completely impossible for any previous method to solve. The scale and the accuracy were just, well, they were totally unprecedented. So you see, this isn't just some cool academic achievement. Solving the protein folding problem fundamentally changes the speed limit of biological discovery itself. It just blows the doors wide open for all kinds of new research. And this is really where it stops being about an algorithm and starts changing our world. It means scientists can go from a gene sequence to a super high-quality 3D structure in minutes, not years. This speeds up everything, designing new medicines, understanding the genetic roots of diseases, even creating new enzymes that could break down plastic waste. It's literally like giving a detailed map to every single biologist on the entire planet. Of course, it's not a magic bullet, right? The system works best when it has a good family tree of evolutionary relatives to learn from. It can also have a tougher time with proteins that are part of a much larger machine. And it predicts a single static picture of a protein, when in reality, a lot of these little machines are constantly moving and changing shape as they work. The solution to the protein folding problem is truly a watershed moment. It proves that AI is one of the most powerful tools we have ever built for scientific discovery. It's already revolutionizing biology, and it leaves us with this one really thrilling question to think about. What other impossible problem is going to be solved next?